Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. So, folks, it's time that, we as a fan base, we have a dialogue. We have a conversation. Because there is a pattern that is starting to develop here that, for lack of a better word, is concerning. What exactly am I referring to? Well, if you pay attention to the news, you're on Twitter, you watch other Lions podcasts, particularly ones that are held by players, you've already kind of got an idea of where I'm going with this. Yesterday, Lions superstar wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown got on a podcast, probably, if I recall correctly, I think it was his own, and he started talking about a lot of Lions fans' reactions to the news of the Lions hiring Drew Petzing. And I knew as soon as I saw the notification for it, I was like, oh, this is not going to be a good notification for Lions fans. It's just not going to be. And as soon as I watched the short, I think 1 minute snippet of what was being discussed, I literally was like, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. Pretty much what Amon-Ra St. Brown said within that little snippet in regards to Lions fans, in regards to the news of Drew Petzing being hired as the next offensive coordinator was pretty much, where's your trust? That's pretty much what it came down to, is where is your trust? Do you not trust Dan Campbell? Do you not trust the Lions? Do you not trust the front office? Do you not trust them to know what they're doing? And the point of the matter is I had already kind of talked about this before that whole thing came out. And I was like, it's kind of funny to me that now kind of the players are also getting in on this. And obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown is the first one to say anything, but it's funny how over the course of the last, 2 days, ever since the news of Petzing's hire has become available and official, there have been a lot of people that have literally been so just down on this whole news that they think that Brad Holmes is being cheap. They think that maybe Brad Holmes is trying to tell Dan Campbell this is what we're going to do and that's that. And, it doesn't matter what you might like. We're going with what is our fit, blah, 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 blah. And the conspiracy theories and the negative thought processes that are coming out regarding all of this is just absolutely, just ridiculously, I don't even know what other word to call it, but just stupid. The thing about it that bothers me the most is that there are Lions fans that are just so distrusting and so skeptical about this move that a lot of them just don't want to give it a chance. A lot of them see it already as an SOL move. A lot of people see it as, this is Dan Campbell writing his epitaph on his, upcoming freaking tombstone as the Lions, head coach. And I find it funny that people have such a distrusting nature towards this, considering all of the things that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have done to, make the team where it is. And it's all because of what has happened primarily due to this year. Now, notice how I said that word primarily. I'm not saying that it's all because of that, but it's primarily because of what has happened this last year in 2025. You have so many Lions fans that unless they get what they want, like petulant toddlers, that if they don't get what they want, they are going to freaking kick and scream and say that they don't trust the system, they don't trust the process, they think Brad is an idiot, they think Dan's an idiot, they think they need to be fired, we need to start the whole thing over, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, dude, I'm like, I cannot understand how this fan base, not all of it, but how this fan base has become so distrusting of a front office that has brought a massive, and I do mean that, a massive amount of success to this team in such a very short period of time, but also consistently within that short period of time. Again, it kind of is one of those situations where it's like, you know, after a while, you get so used to the good that when it's not as good as what you want it to be, you start complaining. And the part about that I don't understand is, wait a minute here, let's back up here. Everybody wants to talk about the fact, oh, you know, we only went 9-8, we had such bigger expectations for this year. Yeah, you're right, everybody had that thought process. The front office had that thought process, the players had that process, everybody had that process, that thinking for this year. But the Lions still finished 9-8. They still finished with a winning record. I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think that teams that are still struggling or have not had the ability to get over that hump would look at it the same way if, you know, they were in our shoes? Like, seriously, ask yourself that question. You got teams out there like the Raiders, like the Browns, like the Cardinals, and other teams where it's like, listen, they have gone so long without having a winning season, without having any measure of success, that if they were to have a winning season, they'd be euphoric. They'd be ecstatic. But the thing is, it's not just that the Lions have had a winning season this year. They've had 4 straight years of winning seasons. 9-8, 12-5, 15-2, 9-8. I mean, you have that much success over a 4-year period. It's like, for a lot of people, that would be considered, hey, you know what? There's something good going on here. Yeah, you know what? We didn't get to the Super Bowl. But that doesn't mean that, you know, all of a sudden, just because we had a less than stellar year, that all of a sudden our Super Bowl window's closed. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden we now can't have the ability to go to a Super Bowl. And what makes it even further, you know, concerning is that everybody now wants to think, that's within this group, that wants to distrust Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, the Lions, the whole 9 of it. They all want to think that because of the hiring of Drew Petzing, that right there is like the final nail in the coffin. Like as if that is the last or the first or whatever piece of this puzzle that just pretty much says, that's it, it's done. We don't have to go any further. It's like, dude, if humanity was measured in acts of faith or acts of trust, Lions fans would be quite damn near the bottom. Because it's like, listen, there have been plenty of times in the past where Lions fans have had to take a leap of faith, and you know what? It's worked out for them. A lot of other times where it hasn't. But it's like, listen, it's like for a person and a group and an organization with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell that have constantly, and I do mean this, constantly proven doubters wrong when everybody wants to stack against them and say, oh, you don't know what you're doing, you drafted the wrong player, you put your trust in the wrong person, blah, 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 and then, oh my God, here we are a couple of weeks later or a couple of months later or a year later, and then it's like, everybody just magically has this case of amnesia and just completely forgets, oh, well, I never once thought about it that way. I was all for this idea. I would like to say that the receipts at the time would probably say you were very much on the opposite side of that fence, my friend. Because let's think about this here. How many people were against drafting Jack Campbell when we drafted him? There was quite a number of people that were against him. Now Jack Campbell is considered one of the best linebackers, if not the best linebacker in the NFL. He is a leader on that freaking defense, and he is considered the captain of that defense. How many people were against Jared Goff being given the franchise quarterback role, despite the fact that this guy had literally been there every single week, had taken all the bashings from the fans, had never once spoken out against the fans, had literally given his all, and over the last 3 or 4 years has become one of the most statistically, if not the most statistically dominant quarterback in the NFL. Yet there are still people who want to bash him and say, oh, well, he's not good enough. We need to get rid of him. We need to trade him because he's never going to get us to a Super Bowl. Now, we've gone away from the players being the ones that are primarily getting that bashing, the ones that are primarily coming under fire and coming under scrutiny and all this other nonsense, and now it's transitioning towards the front office. It's transitioning to Brad Holmes. It's transitioning to Dan Campbell because, oh, well, they're not getting it done as fast as we would like. I'm sorry here. Let's back this up for just half a damn second here. We had Matt Patricia for 3 years as our head coach. We had Bob Quinn as our GM for, 5 years? How much success did they have? Not much, if at all. Matt Patricia never had a winning season. Bob Quinn had 2, but that was with Jim Caldwell as the coach. But even when Jim Caldwell was here, the Lions never, ever had the level of success that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have had. Dan Campbell was the first coach since the 1990s. 90s to have a 12-win season. Oh, Dan Campbell was the first coach since the 1990s to have a division title. Dan Campbell was the first head coach since the 1990s to win a playoff victory. Dan Campbell was the first coach since the 1990s to get to a conference championship. All of that happened under Dan Campbell's watch. All of that happened under Brad Holmes' watch. All of that happened with Jared Goff as quarterback. And now, here we are, only 2 years removed from that. And you have fans that are so despondent, so petulant, so absolutely immature about the whole thing that they want to quite literally burn the entire thing down and start from scratch. This is what I call literally the instant gratification thought process that plagues the society that we live in. You have people that are so, I've got to have what I want I got to have what I want right now. I will not wait, I cannot wait, and if you can't give me what I want, I'm going to get somebody else who can give me what I want. Here's the problem though. That thought process, that thinking process is a total, absolute farce. There is no such thing that is called getting what you want immediately. Because if you think that was the case, I would imagine then that Jerry Jones would have probably won 6 or 7 damn Super Bowls by now. Because how many times has Jerry Jones said, man, I would give a right arm, I'd give a left leg, I would spend every dollar I'd have to go and win a Super Bowl. But yet, the Cowboys have not even come close to sniffing a Super Bowl since, Jimmy Johnson days, Barry Switzer days, Troy Aikman days, Michael Irvin days. They haven't come close. Haven't come close. For all the money that that Jerry Jones has, it's not once gotten him anywhere closer to winning a Super Bowl. The Lions have gotten closer to winning a Super Bowl in that time frame than he has. You have fans that are wanting to blame the Petzing hire as yet another reinforcing factor that, this is us returning back to the same old Lions. You have people that are wanting to say that, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, they're cheap. They don't want to take out, they don't want to open up the purse strings. They don't want to open up the bank account to go get a guy like Mike McDaniel. It's not about the money, folks. It's not about the damn money. I don't understand how people still think it's about money here. This is the same freaking franchise that made Jared Goff when they signed him to his contract. What was it? A top 5, top 3 quarterback at the time that contract was signed? Made Penei Sewell the number 1 paid right tackle in the game when they signed him to that contract. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a top 5 wide receiver when they signed him to that contract. Aiden Hutchinson, a top 5, top 3 edge rusher when they signed him to that contract. How in the literal hell can you think that this is about money? It's not about money. Because here's a little clue for y'all. There is no correlation whatsoever whatsoever to the salary cap that you sign players with, as far as with the contracts that you hand out to coaches. It's not about money. It's about what is best for the team. It is about what is a best fit for what the Lions are trying to do. That's why they went with Drew Petzing. That is 100% why they went with Drew Petzing. And think about this. I have literally stated it more times than I can already enumerate over the last few days. The reason that they went with him, detail-oriented, commands a room. This is a guy that is very, very heavy on running the ball and setting up creative running schemes. This is a guy that uses multiple tight end formations. This is a guy that likes to run the freaking offense from under center. This is a guy that likes to do a lot of play-action passing. That is quite literally, dot the I, cross the T, the Lions' offensive identity to a 100%, verification. That is them. And here's the part about this that I can't understand for the damn life of me, on top of everything else that I can't understand. There are some people that are saying, oh, this is just another John Morton hire all over again. What? How is this a John Morton hire all over again? John Morton was a pass-happy freaking offensive mind. This guy is the exact opposite of that. The only reason he had to pass the ball as much as he did this year with the Cardinals is because they had no running game. Why? Because, oh, that's right, starting running back, backup running back, third string running back, we're all injured. So it's like, okay, I don't have any running backs. I got to go with the passing game because that's all I got. But yet everybody wants to say it's a John Morton hire. It's a John Morton hire in terms of scheme. It's a John Morton hire in terms of, what it means for us. No, sir. Not even close. The fact of the matter is that there are Lions fans out there that are screaming into a void and they don't even know their ass in from a tea kettle. Sorry to call it for what it is. And it just absolutely, it literally is insanity. You have people like myself that are trying to provide all of this information to say, this is actually a sneaky good hire. This is a guy that literally knows how to get the best out of the running game. Get us back to what made us such the best offense in football in 2024. And you have literal Lions fans that are like, I won't listen to you. I refuse to listen to you because I didn't get Mike McDaniel. And it's just like, I can't help you there. I can't help you. I get it. You're upset about what happened in 2025. I get it. You're upset about the fact that John Morton didn't work out. I get it. You're upset about the fact that, you didn't get Mike McDaniel. I got one simple statement for you, and I know it's going to piss a lot of you off. Get the hell over it. So what? Just because you didn't get what you want as far as the guy you wanted hired doesn't mean you still can't get the result you want at the damn end. Because let me put this out there for you. I saw a comment, and this comment absolutely just perfectly encapsulated the whole thought process here. I saw a comment in one of the videos that I posted, I think it was yesterday, and somebody quite literally put in there, said, I don't care if Ronald McDonald was the offensive coordinator so long as we win a Super Bowl. As funny as a statement as that was, and I mean funny because it actually kind of made me smile a little bit, that's the right thinking. The point is it's like, don't focus on who's the guy that got the job. Focus on the damn end result. I don't care if it's a guy that you don't recognize the name of. I don't care if you think about it from the fact that, it's not Mike McDaniel. It's not the best offensive mind out there or the biggest name out there. Is it the guy that's going to get the job done? That's what matters. Because here's the thing about this. Let's just call this for the let's just call this for what it is. Mike McDaniel goes to the Chargers, right? How many offensive minds have gone through the Chargers program with Justin Herbert? And, that's right. Justin Herbert has become quite literally known as the worst playoff quarterback in NFL history. They have had so many great offensive minds that have gone through there. They had Kellen Moore. They had Greg Roman. I mean, they've had so many great offensive minds that have gone through that freaking team, And yet every time Justin Herbert gets to the playoffs, it absolutely just ends in disaster. Every freaking time. Yet everyone's now thinking that because the Chargers went out and hired Mike McDaniel underneath Jim Harbaugh, that now they're Super Bowl contenders. Just because you have the big names doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the big results. It doesn't happen that way. In fact, in a lot of cases, it normally does not happen that way. Because let me put this out there for you. Who was Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw before they won their first Super Bowl? Who was Bill Walsh and Joe Montana before they won their first Super Bowl? Think about it. You have guys that usually, when they get hired, they are considered, decent prospects, but there's not exactly a big fanfare arrival for them when they come about. And typically, it actually takes a little bit of time for them to actually get to that point of where everybody starts recognizing them as a big name. Drew Petzing is not a guy that everybody's talking about right now because of the fact, like I've said before, his 2025 season wasn't particularly good. But again, before that 2025 season, he was given a head coaching interview by the Bears. This was a guy that quite literally was in the Athletics top 50 under 40 up-and-coming coaches or players, whatever, in the NFL. Sorry, coaches, not players. There's virtually no players in that category. But that's my whole point. This guy got so much recognition for the work he did in 2024, but now because of 2025, nobody thinks he's good at all. They wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole like the damn Grinch. That's my whole point. Everybody wants to just focus on what happened this last year, but nobody wants to actually take a look at the whole damn picture. That's why what Amon-Ra St. Brown said about how do you not trust Dan Campbell? How do you not trust Brad Holmes at this point? Look at everything that they've done. How can you say you don't trust them after everything they've done to get us to this point? The lack of faith when it comes to this Lions fan base, especially after everything that freaking front office has done over the last 4 years, it's sickening. It's maddeningly sickening. I can't understand it. There were Lions fans that for years said, "Oh, we just want to win we just want to have a winning season." Then there were those that said, "Oh, now we just want to win a playoff game or just get to the playoffs and win a playoff game." Then there were those, "Oh, we want to win the division." It's like, listen, the Lions under Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have done all those things. The only thing they haven't gotten to yet is a Super Bowl. And correct me if I'm wrong here, there's only one Super Bowl winner a year out of 32 damn teams. That's a very, very, very small margin of error. It doesn't just happen just because, hey, you know what? We want it to. You have to actually have a lot of things go your way. And on top of that, you also have to have a little bit of luck to go your way too. Because that's how damn difficult it is to win Super Bowls. There's a reason why dynasties are so rare. There's a reason why a lot of one-off champions are so common. Because it's not a common occurrence to get to a Super Bowl. It is not a common occurrence to win a Super Bowl. Because there's only one team every year out of 32 others that gets to the damn Super Bowl. And wins it. So think about that. Y'all are wanting to freaking bash and throw, knives and spears and everything else at the front office, but yet you don't realize how damn hard it is to actually do that. How everything has to fall into place damn near perfectly. How you need a couple of lucky bounces to go your way. But yet everybody wants to say because, we didn't get the guy we wanted with offensive coordinator because of how bad the season was last year. We are just going to absolutely kick and scream like a petulant child because we didn't get Mike McDaniel. And because of that, we're going to completely write off the entirety of the season. And again, I know that's not all Lions fans. Because some are saying, you know what, I do trust Dan Campbell. Some are saying, you know what, I am going to have patience. Hey, congratulations, and absolutely I mean this, congratulations to the mature thought process there. But to a lot of people that absolutely just want to completely thumb their nose and stick their, just completely quit on the whole thing and say, you know what, I'm just out on the Lions, I'm going to go find some other team to root for. You know what, if that's your thought process, then you were never truly a Lions fan. You were never truly a Lions fan. Sorry to call it for what it is. If you are a Lions fan, through thick or thin, through good or bad, up or down, I don't care. That's what you are. If it takes that to get you to say, nope, I'm going to the door, then you know what? There's the door. Take the door. Bye-bye. I don't care. I'm going to be a Lions fan no matter what the hell happens. Good, bad, indifferent, up, down, highest of highs, lowest of lows. I'm a Lions fan until the day I die. That's not going to change. So if by hiring Drew Petzing, all of a sudden you pretty much wrote off the season, wrote off the team, and you're going to go find somebody else, then you were never truly a Lions fan to begin with. You were, as they would say, a bandwagon fan. Doesn't matter if you were a fan for 50 years and then all of a sudden said, hey, you know what, I'm done. That just means you hung on the bandwagon for a long-ass time. Some people might not like that. I might lose subscribers for it, but you know what? The one thing I have always said 100% is I always tell the damn truth. Whether you like it or not. Anyway, I have said my piece on this. So I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you enjoyed the content, which I'm going to imagine a lot of you aren't, I would highly encourage y'all to subscribe to the channel. But if by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not yet had a chance to do so, want to also encourage y'all, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all got some in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.